Fittingly, Payday 2 is a lot like a bank heist. If you pick your crew well, everyone will know their job and work together like a well-oiled machine, and everyone gets rich. If, on the other hand, you leave the guy with the IQ of a toaster oven in charge of grabbing the money while you guard the hostages, you've booked yourself a one-way ticket to San Quentin. Like most co-op games, Payday 2 is only as good as the people you bring into it with you. But if you choose wisely, it'll challenge and reward you with high-tension action and intense running gun battles.
Yeah, money-making time.
Get down on the ground and stay down!
Visually, Payday 2 is all over the map. Out in the street, environments feel believable thanks to impressive daytime lighting and some truly authentic-looking architecture. But that believability crumbles the moment you step inside, where the geometry is so basic and the textures so flat that you'd think you were playing a different game. I wanted to immerse myself in the fantasy of being a big-money bank robber, but an endless stream of snafus kept shattering it. Invisible walls, endlessly repeating civilian models. This? I mean, what year are we in again? Thankfully, the excellent sound design does a lot of heavy lifting and brought me right back into the moment. Rifle fire rings out across the streets as beautifully as a church choir. The dynamic soundtrack isn't exactly memorable, but musical flourishes accompany each shift in pace, cueing you in that you either need to buckle down for a big firefight or get your ass in gear towards that escape van when the cops are hot on your tail. The core structure of Payday 2's 4-player co-op gameplay is really strong, as are the many systems and mechanics that feed into it. CrimeNet is your principal gameplay mode, where you'll choose missions from an interactive city map and get matched up with some partners in crime. Things like safe, guard, and camera placement are all randomized every time you play a mission, keeping you and your buddies on your toes at all times. But in a creative and thematically appropriate idea, you get dropped in to case the joint as civilians first, so you can get an idea of what to expect. The main reason to play Payday 2 instead of its predecessor is that it actually allows for a skilled crew to complete heists without the cops ever getting involved. Disabling alarms, silently taking out guards, and effectively controlling civilian crowds all have a huge impact on how fast and how strong police intervention will be. A flawless heist is incredibly tough to orchestrate, but it is possible, and that possibility is what kept me chasing perfection match after match. Part of why it's so challenging and alluring is all the different details and elements that play meaningful roles. Deciding on equipment and weapon mods, taking and protecting hostages, choosing what skill trees to develop. The amount of depth is really impressive when you add it all up, and the result is a surprisingly strategic affair. Even once things invariably go wrong and the focus shifts from executing a plan to thinking on your feet, the tension never lets up. The ensuing firefights are long and intense, and require good resource management and quick thinking to survive. Which leads to Payday 2's biggest and most glaring issue, the single-player mode. Now, it should be clear that this is a co-op game that's meant to be enjoyed with 4 human players, but if you had any aspiration of making bank as a lone wolf, you might as well shelve them. Payday 2's AI helpers aren't even capable of interacting with objectives or carrying money bags, making even the simplest, most straightforward missions nearly unplayable. They're fine as mobile meat shields, but otherwise, they make Payday 2 look like a much worse game than it actually is. It's honestly baffling that they've even been included in their current state.
Down! On the ground, people! Down!
Played as intended with a group of friends, Payday 2 is much like one of its heists. Things can get a little sloppy, but the potential payoff is big. Parts of its presentation are lacking, and the state of its single player is, well, criminal. But overall, it's a deep, addictive co-op shooter that tickled my inner burglar. For even more on bank robberies and computer games, be sure to keep it here on IGN.